Is there a shift in the Latino vote? Well, if you look at this, a new survey commissioned by Texas Latino Conservatives showed this. The Republican Party is gaining more support from Hispanics in the past 2 years. The latest survey showing a move further right this November, redrawing the Texas and national political maps. We'll bring in now the founder of Texas Latino Conservatives, Orlando Sanchez. Orlando, good to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time. Talk to the viewers, if you can, about this survey, maybe some biggest takeaways from that, and why you chose to put this ask out there.
Well, we all know, thank you for having me. We all know that there has been tremendous shifts, at least in Texas, Hispanics now voting for the Republicans that are running statewide and in different counties. The largest shift, of course, occurred in South Texas in Starr County, and there were shifts in Valverde County, and Hidalgo County, and Cameron County. But we wanted to get a bigger, larger, in-depth view of what was happening, where it was happening, and most importantly, why it was happening. And so we surveyed 1,200 registered voters. We ran them against the consumer data, the voter file, and the 2020 census. And then we scored every precinct in Texas, which is going to be the roadmap of where we're going to campaign and send a conservative message to Latinos in Texas. And so we found out some really interesting data. 61% of the respondents said they were dissatisfied, unhappy with the direction of the Democratic Party. And most importantly, of that 61%, when we weeded out the ones that were solidly Democrat, we had 28% of that group is leaning towards the Republican Party. So there's plenty of room to grow for the GOP in Texas.
You know what I get from that, so if you find that 61% there dissatisfied with the Democratic Party, if you couple that with NBC's newest poll that 74% of Americans, or voters rather, respondents, are headed in the wrong direction, it seems that this is correlating, obviously, not just with the overall public, but specifically there with the Hispanic vote feeling the same way, and not just with the country, but, as some of them said, with their own party. Did that surprise you?
It was a bit surprising when we asked about, why are you moving towards the Republican Party? There were several options they could pick from. Several said that the policies and principles of the Republicans are better for the country. 15% said that the Democrats were bad for the economy and the Republicans were better. Family and religious values played an important role. That influenced 14% of them. Democrats support big government and handouts and socialism. 14% agreed with that. And then, of course, there was support for open borders and that the Democrats were weak on immigration. 7% responded that the Democrats were weak on immigration. So there's plenty of room in Texas to grow.
That's huge. And obviously, faith and family, a major cornerstone, if you will, of any Hispanic family that you speak with. I want to talk, if I can, touch on this with the time we have left on the border crisis that we're seeing. NPR Ipsos poll finding this: majority of Americans viewing what's happening at the border as an invasion. Again, that there on your screen. Talk to me about polling on this. I know you briefly mentioned that in terms of securing the border. There is a legal way to come into this country, as you mentioned, that you polled 1,200 registered voters. Talk to me about how that's viewed in your polling.
Well, interesting, immigration did not rank as high as economic opportunity, economic advancement for Hispanics. But of those that thought that the immigration issue was important, of course, they want a legal immigration system. And importantly, like most Americans, they want strong border security. Particularly those along the Rio Grande Valley and South Texas. These are the communities whose taxpayers, property taxpayers, that fund the local sheriff, police, ambulance service, public education. They're the ones being hammered. And so, like most Americans, Hispanics want strong border security, support strong policies on the border, and support legal immigration.
All right, we'll leave it right there again. 61%, according to that poll there by Texas Latino Conservatives, dissatisfied with the Democratic Party. That pointed out there. Orlando Sanchez, he is the founder of Texas Latino Conservatives. Thank you so much for coming on. It's good to see you, Orlando.
My pleasure.